Hi, it's Tony Marino, host of the super popular NEWSMAX Daily Podcast, a rundown of the day's top headlines and top highlights of NEWSMAX shows and interviews you may have missed, plus some sports, stock markets, and even some yucks, all packed into about 20 minutes. Search for the NEWSMAX Daily with me, Tony Marino, on your favorite podcast platform, and check out our entire lineup of great podcasts, including Greg Kelly, Rob Carson, and Jerry Callahan at newsmax.com/listen.
Now.
You are about to hear the most interesting, informative, thought-provoking, and funny show in America. On air and on the World Wide Web. This is the Rob Carson Show.
And by the grace of God, it is finally Friday. Finally Friday. What a week it has been. Got a big football weekend ahead. The Ravens and Chiefs, that'll be fun this weekend. We'll see. Ravens looked pretty good the other night, but then they kind of did the old chokeroo. But Chiefers, coming around. It'll be fun. There are a lot of good games to watch this weekend. I'm going to be out in near Balmer tomorrow, which is good. I'll be up in northern Maryland tomorrow, and then I'm taking the lid off of Buck the Bronco, and we're going to be driving out in Lancaster County, cranking some metal as we drive around, maybe get a pumpkin. We will see, but I hope you're out, have a good weekend as well. My TV show, by the way, is Sunday night. It's called Rob Carson's What in the World. This weekend is amazing. Welcome to the show. Please come inside. As always, a loaded Friday show today, and of course, because we got a great guy as the president who doesn't have pudding for brains, we're going to start the show with good news again. I know, it's ridiculous.
We love to
It's crazy.
Winning, so much winning. It's lots of winning,
Lots of winning.
It's oh so good.
Here is our what is he, Scott Bessent, our Treasury Secretary, the first gay Treasury Secretary ever. You know why they don't make a big deal out of it? Because it doesn't matter.
3.88% growth, the biggest in years.
Wow.
And the important thing is the president says this is going to be non-inflationary growth, just like it was in his first term.
Wow.
So strong growth, low inflation, real wage gains. And to the question on small business optimism under President Trump last week hit a multi-year high. So small businesses, Main Street is back.
Well, that's just amazing. Are you saying that lower taxes and lower regulation and not closing all the damn businesses because of a virus we paid for is actually good for business? Who would have thunk? Oh, and then $27 billion last month in tariff revenue. But, everybody who reads the Wall Street Journal was standing on the ledge. They were convinced the world is going to hell in a handbasket. Oh, my God. So basically, core inflation is slowed in August. Again, you panic mongers, tariffs are going to cause inflation. No, not really. Actually, the most likely thing to be affected by tariffs, durable goods. Fell for the second straight month. So your dishwasher or whatever, declining 0.1%, wages up. Imagine that. Overall consumer spending rose 0.6%. The Commerce Department said after adjusting for inflation, spending rose 0.3%. There's some good news. Here's some more good news, not from the national front, but in California. President Trump dealt California Governor Gavin Newsom a defeat this week as California regulators voted to repeal a mandate that required trucking fleets to propose zero-emissions electric-powered trucks. You know why? Because EVs are for posers. They're commuter cars and golf carts, and I wouldn't even have one as a riding lawnmower. I would never have electric riding lawnmower. Are you out of your nut? I would have. I did get something electric the other day. A new immersion blender. You don't plug it into the wall anymore. It actually has a battery, so that's good. I got an EV immersion blender. So we got that. National poll slaps Democrats with the worst rating ever. You know why? Because they suck and they're out of their minds. I mean, they're bat guano crazy and they haven't learned anything from 2024 and they want to go further left. As far as I'm concerned, here, have another shovel while you're digging your own grave. 30% of voters nationwide questioned in the Quinnipiac University survey said they have a favorable opinion of the Democrat Party, and 54% they say they have an unfavorable opinion. That's the lowest favorability rating for the Democrat Party since Quinnipiac University began polling in 2008. You know why? Again, because they're frigging nuts. The Democrat Party is nuts. They call Trump and his followers and Charlie Kirk fascists and Nazis, and then Charlie Kirk gets murdered by someone who repeated the talking points that the Democrats have been repeating. And the Democrats caused the burning and sacking of America in 2020, said nothing about it at all. They burned and sacked in a much milder form, but still quite destructive in 2016 when Donald Trump was kicked Hillary Clinton's sizable butt, and they've been doing it ever since. And now they've got a trail of blood and bodies that, without a doubt, have their name written all over it. But they're trying to tell you, we had nothing to do with it. And guess what? Nobody believes them. Nobody believes them because you know why? We're not stupid. So there you go. That's good news. Oh. Did you hear the other good news? It looks like Jim Comey has been indicted. Jim Comey has been indicted, and this is not going to be the first. This is not going to be the last of it, by the way. Chris Wray also lied about January the 6th. You know what they're saying now? FBI had 274 plainclothes agents embedded in the January the 6th crowd. Now, who called it a Reichstag moment on January the 7th? Oh yeah, me, I did. Because obviously it was a setup, obviously. And hopefully the same, how do I put this, bastards who lured people into the Capitol and then destroyed their lives by punishing them and putting them in jail for 4 years without a trial, some of them in solitary confinement for a year. Hopefully the people who did that will be replaced. They will replace the Jan 6ers in prison the same fashion except for the rest of their bloody lives. I think that would be cool, right? I think that would be absolutely cool. But, for those of you who feel like there is retribution, and by the way, the Democrats started saying that Donald Trump could do a retribution when he gets in office a couple of years ago because they knew what the DOJ was doing against Trump was political. That's why they set it up. At the very beginning of the campaign last year, Donald Trump used the word retribution. I am your retribution. And, of course, the media started parroting it. Donald Trump gets in office. He's going to put his political enemies in jail. Retribution. And Trump stopped using the word retribution. But the media hung on to it because they knew hell was coming because it had to happen because the DOJ was weaponized against Trump and conservatives. There's no doubt about it at all. Going after Catholics, going after parents protesting CRT, going after people for shopping at Bass Pro Shop and Cabela's and whatever. So hell is coming, and this is just the beginning. It's finally happening. Oh my God, it's finally happening. And here's old Jim Comey last year, saying that he wanted Donald Trump to go to jail.
Convict him, bar him from future service, have the prosecutors, the local prosecutors in New York, pursue him for the fraudster that he was before he ever became president, lock him up for the garden variety frauds he did there, but don't give him that center stage, that dominant role in our national life.
Yeah.
Just down the street where Joe Biden is trying to heal this nation.
Yeah, he was trying to heal the nation. He ruined the damn nation. And by damnation, I said damnation. He ruined the damn nation. They rigged the election in 2020. And then they spent the last 4 years trying to destroy Donald Trump by putting him in jail and then trying to take his fortune and then taking him off the ballot and then trying to murder him. And now those words are going to come back to bite old Jim Comey right in the butt. Here he is yesterday, a dramatic statement. By the way, he went for a walk with his wife last night, and he found some shells spelled on the beach that said, "You're screwed." It was really weird how that happens. But here he is with his dramatic statement on social media. He's kind of like a little girl with his social media nonsense. I put a lot of stuff on social media. His stuff is kind of bordering on like little girl. He said he's a big Taylor Swift fan. Here he is last night.
My family and I have known for years that there are costs to standing up to Donald Trump.
Yeah, his daughter and wife were at the 2016 rally, the pink pussy hat. I hate to say that word, but that's what it was, that rally. So they're radical leftists, the wife and the daughter are. And by the way, his son-in-law just quit the FBI.
But we couldn't imagine ourselves living any other way. We will not live on our knees, and you shouldn't either.
Well, I wouldn't say that. You are going to prison.
Somebody that I love dearly recently said that fear is the tool of a tyrant. And she's right.
Yeah.
But I'm not afraid.
Oh, well.
And I hope you're not either.
Who's he talking to? Why is he trying to rope you into this? Why is he talking to you?
I hope instead you are engaged.
What?
You are paying attention.
What?
And you will vote like your beloved country.
Well, you won't vote Democrat because they're at an all-time low.
Depends upon it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which it does.
Yeah, of course.
My heart is broken for
Good. Awesome.
the Department of Justice, but I have great confidence in the federal judicial system, and I'm innocent.
Yeah.
So let's have a trial.
Yeah. The DOJ was completely corrupt under you. You fool. Oh, my God in heaven, I hope you go to jail. I really, really do. I'm not afraid to say that one little bit. Not one little bit. Here is the President of the United States. After 9 years of hell, his first term in office, Jim Comey was one of the architects of the Russia collusion hoax, the impeachment, and then, of course, all the other things that happened. It's obvious the FBI DOJ weaponized themselves against Donald Trump, and the only person who could survive all of that is Donald Trump. And now, call it retribution. If you want to call it retribution, I'm fine. Hell yeah, it's retribution. You're going to pay for what you did.
Well, I can't tell you what's going to happen because I don't know. You have very professional people headed up by the Attorney General, and Todd Blanche, and Lindsay Halligan, who's very smart, good lawyer, very good lawyer.
She's awesome.
They're going to make a determination. I'm not making that determination. I think I'd be allowed to get involved.
Yeah, because he got persecuted. So there's that.
I can only say that Comey's a bad person.
He is.
He's a sick person. I think he's a sick guy, actually.
Yeah, pretty much.
He did terrible things at the FBI. And but I don't know. I have no idea what's going to happen. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you very much. Of course, the FBI raided Mar-a-Lago. Had never been done before, and abused everything they could to try to put Donald Trump away. And anybody else would be in jail, just like old Bolsonaro in Brazil would have been in jail, but Donald Trump survived. And even when they tried to take his life, he held his fist in the air and said, fight, fight, fight. And guess what? Payback is a Hillary. Oh, my goodness, it is. Now, we got a lot of stuff on the show. Much more on this indictment of Jim Comey and the freak out. I'm not going to play a lot of the freaking out on the left. I could give a flying rip about them because they were going to do that anyway. And their words mean nothing, by the way. We're going to get a little more about the setup that was January the 6th. I could say that now without being banned and called disinformation because I knew the truth on January the 7th. The number here is 800-922-6680. This is a Friday edition of the Rob Carson Show.
I am sending troops to Memphis, Tennessee. 'Cause it looks like Memphis could use some help from me. The mayor has done nothing to put criminals away. Memphis needs our help, and they need it there today. The city's run by Democrats who defunded police. They can't do their jobs or maintain the peace. I'm sending in the guard. Memphis needs it bad. Their mayor, Paul Young, that guy's really sad. Voted the most dangerous place in the USA. Wouldn't want to live there. Wouldn't want to stay. Sending in the guard. That goal, it was mine. Democrats in Memphis, listen to them whine.
Jail Jim Comey soon for his terroristic post. Comey in the slammer is what we want to see the most. In other words, lock him up. In other words, incarcerate him. Assassination threat should put Comey in the pen. Make sure that this loser won't see freedom once again. In other words, jail him today. In other words, day.
The Rob Carson Show podcast is everywhere. Go to newsmax.com/listen for details.
Did you show copies of your memos to anyone outside of the Department of Justice?
Yes.
And to whom did you show copies?
I asked, President tweeted on Friday after I got fired that I better hope there's not tapes. I woke up in the middle of the night on Monday night, because it didn't dawn on me originally, that there might be corroboration for our conversation. There might be a tape. And my judgment was I needed to get that out into the public square. And so I asked a friend of mine to share the content of the memo with a reporter. Didn't do it myself for a variety of reasons, but I asked him to because I thought that might prompt the appointment of a special counsel. And so I asked a close friend of mine to do it.
Comey was sniffed out staging a coup and framing the president as a traitor, a Russian operative, then leaking and lying to Congress about his operations. These are actual crimes. Remember, they had to make up crimes to charge Trump.
Yeah, they did, and we had to endure it for a very long time. And you may recall the November 5th election when we voted for Donald Trump because we never were not going to vote for him because the 2020 election was rigged, and so we didn't even need to have a primary. I went through it. You guys didn't have a primary. Joe Biden, pudding for brains, was automatically your candidate. Hillary was your candidate automatically in 2016, and then Joe Biden was your candidate until Kamala Harris was your candidate. Neither one of them were the candidates you wanted, but that's how we roll. That's how we roll. And then, of course, we knew that payback was coming for all of the misdeeds, all of the abuses and usurpations that this DOJ, this government, had done to Donald Trump and his supporters. And you bleepers, oh my goodness, if I could not have the FCC come down on me, I would have all sorts of words. Like this. I'd be saying things I say when I put together IKEA furniture, and it's ugly. It's like bleepity 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 bleep, but I'm just gonna play some sweet audio of Jim Comey lying, like when he did in 2020 with on September the 30th. By the way, this is the lie that's got him in trouble, because you see, the 30th of September is coming up, and the statute of limitations was gonna run out. So they waited till the very end here. Jim was kind of feeling good. He felt so cocky that he put up a seashell picture saying, "Kill the president, 8647, then acted like he didn't know what it was all about. Thought he was really funny. Not laughing anymore.
Chairman Grassley asked you point blank, quote, "Have you ever been an anonymous source in news reports about matters relating to the Trump investigation or the Clinton investigation?" You responded under oath, quote, "Never." He then asked you, quote, "Have you ever authorized someone else at the FBI to be an anonymous source in news reports about the Trump investigation or the Clinton administration?" You responded again under oath, "No." Now, as you know, Mr. McCabe, who works for you, has publicly and repeatedly stated that he leaked information to the Wall Street Journal. Who's telling the truth?
I can only speak to my testimony. I stand by what the testimony you summarized that I gave. I'm not going to characterize Andy's testimony, but mine is the same today.
Here is the questioning with Grassley.
Have you ever been an anonymous source in news reports about matters relating to the Trump investigation or the Clinton investigation?
Never.
Have you ever authorized someone else at the FBI to be an anonymous source in news reports about the Trump investigation or the Clinton investigation?
No.
And that's a lie, because Greg Jarrett says he is a prolific leaker. He's like a woman who's had 12 children when she coughs.
Infamous in Washington as a prodigious leaker. He would do it to burnish his own image, inflate his ego, but mostly to smear the man he so despised, Donald Trump. He would authorize others like Andrew McCabe, James Baker, to leak sensitive material to the media. Sometimes Comey did it himself through a conduit, notably stealing FBI documents when he was fired and then secretly giving them to his friend Daniel Richman, who handed them off secretly to a reporter. But Comey's denials are on videotape. You've played some of them, and prosecutors, indeed, as John points out, have witnesses who are already on the record. So this is a narrowly defined case. You know, I had to laugh when I saw Comey rush to a camera tonight to claim the mantle of victimhood while anointing himself as America's greatest hero. He thinks he's fearless in the face of a tyrant. It was classic Comey, vainglorious, self-righteous, sermonizing. The dissonance is striking. This is the guy who did more damage to the FBI and our system of justice and a presidency than anyone ever. So his defense will be, I am a victim of a political prosecution and lawfare. The irony should be lost on no one.
You definitely are a victim. You're a victim. Here he is bragging with Jen Psaki. You ready for some hot sake? Bragging about Donald Trump going to jail.
So what?
Actually being arrested. Remember he got arrested? He had to show up and he got the whole mugshot and everything in Georgia for a case that went nowhere because it was a lie.
People have suggested that there are a range of factors that would make it difficult to put the system has not been tested in this way. Do you agree with that it would be difficult or nearly impossible for the law enforcement institutions to put him in actual jail?
No, they would just put him in a double wide somewhere out near the fence, out in the grass. And he would eat there, he'd shower there, he'd exercise there, he'd be away, as Danya Perry said, from general population, but it's obviously doable.
Yeah. Double wides will live in large where I come from. This is Jim Gossett on the Rob Carson Show.
Jail Jim Comey soon.
Come on.
Those indictments just came down. Sent shock waves through D.C. Yeah, it really rocked the town.
Good.
In other words, Comey's toast. In other words, they'll convict him.
Bye-bye.
Lying under oath should put Comey in the pen.
Come on now.
Make sure that this loser won't see freedom once again. In other words, jail him today.
Come on, yeah.
In other words,
come on.
Make Jim Comey
pay. Come on. All right, there we go. Tony Kinnett, Daily Signal, joins us next. It's only going to get bigger. Don't go anywhere. Thanks for the heads up. I'm really glad you did it that way.
With talent on loan from God. And have my brain tied behind my back, to be fair.
You were the sunshine of our life. Rush That's why we'll miss you oh so much.
You know, I'm the mayor of Realville here.
You cut down liberals like a knife. Rush.
El Rush Ball.
Forever you'll be number one.
I am Rush Limbaugh, household name.
America needed a hero.
In all four corners of the world.
And then you came to our rescue.
The Limbaugh Institute for Advanced Conservative Studies.
Competition, you had zero. How could so much talent be inside of you?
And don't doubt it.
You were the sunshine of our life. Rush. That's why we listened every day.
That's it. It's not much more complicated than that.
You helped us get through all the strife. Rush. No one will ever take your place. Because Rush was the sunshine.
All audience expectations every day behind this, the Golden EIB microphone.
Law enforcement isn't to prevent crime. Law enforcement solves crime, not necessarily prevent them from happening.
Buffoon. Jasmine, she is a buffoon. District no longer exists. Out of the Congress real soon. I'll be glad when she's gone from D.C. No Jasmine, it will be pure bliss. I know that this may not sound PC. That mouth on her I will not miss. Buffoon. Jasmine is a total fake. Her ghetto accent's not real. How much more can we take? Buffoon. She was drawn out of her seat. Will be in Congress no longer. Her leaving will be a treat. Drugs transported by boat. Venezuela, you best take note. Cartels, they're having fits, 'cause they're men. They were blown to bits. The drug boat, it now resides on the ocean floor. The drug boat. Marco says we're gonna take out more. Yes, their lives are in danger if they take another chance. 'Cause drugs, we won't tolerate. Shut it down before it's too late. No drugs. A boat that was filled with drugs.
I think other government officials are in danger of being indicted in the coming weeks, some in the FBI, some in other parts of the government. This is the beginning of a large accountability
roundup in government. And I think what's really remarkable, most of my career I've spent uncovering FBI cover-ups. The FBI has a long history of misleading Congress.
Yeah, they do.
Comey falls into that. But the evidence against Comey tonight comes from the FBI and its new director, Kash Patel, who promised radical transparency, and he actually provides the key piece of evidence that leads to this indictment. If you're a member of Congress and you've been tired of being lied to by the FBI, tonight's the first time the FBI actually did something about it. They turned in their own man tonight. I think that's an extraordinary part of this story.
Yeah, you know, when I went to bed with a smile, I woke up with a smile thinking about the fact that it's finally here. It's finally here. The payback for the abuses and usurpations and the law breaking that they committed to try to put Donald Trump in jail for nothing, and it backfired. They even tried to kill him, didn't work. I know that Tony Kinnett woke up with a big smile on his face. I've already seen a picture of it today. Tony Kinnett, Daily Signal. How you doing, bro?
I am just fantastic.
I know.
I mean, really. You know, this broke right before, 30 seconds before we went on the air.
Oh.
And so I got to share my immediate, just completely out of the blue delight with our entire audience live. Oh, what a joy.
It really was. It was almost as good as earlier in the week I had Blaine Holt on the show right as Donald Trump was delivering that UN address. And I thought that was fun. I mean, that was fun. But now we know that it was 5 days. It's 5 days before the statute of limitations would have run out from when he lied to Congress. He spelled 8647 on the seashells. This morning, the seashell said, "Holy crap!" But they did. Oh my God! And you know what's going to be next? It's going to be Christopher Wray. It's going to be Christopher Wray for lying and saying that there were no federal agents embedded in the Jan 6 crowd. Turns out there were 274 of them.
Again, as I have said consistently, the idea that you can simply go before Congress because people have done it before, and you can just lie and it's totally fine and nothing will ever come of it, that's not how it works.
Not anymore.
Occasionally you can get away with stuff, of course, but it's not the norm. And when you get complacent, when the lies become very, very bold, eventually everyone gets the reputation they deserve. And oh boy, to see the grand jury be the one that agrees to this so that the anchors on major networks are left dumbstruck, straight into my veins.
And the other thing is, it was you knew exactly how they would respond because they started using the word retribution 2 years ago because they knew that hell was going to pay even when Donald Trump made it in office. That's why they tried to put him in jail. That's why they tried to take his fortune. That's why they tried to murder him. And now payback is a major Hillary, and they're going to get what for. Right. They did not expect it. I could have put Nancy in there. But anyway.
Put Pete Buttigieg in there for that matter.
Well, yes.
I'm proud of you.
Somebody calls him that. Well, anyway.
Rob, every single time that we get to look at the previous week where Trump plays by the rules that have been set before him, and the left loses their mind and goes, well, you weren't supposed to use the stick that I hit you with. And the lack of concern from this White House over watching people lie in the bed they have made is icing on the cake. Because they're not trying to mealy-mouth around, well, we didn't want to, but you made us. It's no. You mess with the bull, the horns are on the way.
Oh, yeah. Here's Miranda Devine. I'm a big fan of Miranda Devine. And by the way, all of this made Miranda Devine and John Solomon and Matt Taibbi and Schellenberger all into household names because they were the ones telling the truth about this all along, and now they're vindicated. Here's Miranda Devine saying there will be more scalps.
It's accountability, and that's so important because the only way that you stop this lawfare continuing is by bringing some of these people to justice. You need heads on pikes.
Oh, yes.
And I think Donald Trump understands that this term, whereas his first term, I think he was inclined to let bygones be bygones. Nope. He knew that his MAGA base had been chanting at rallies for him to lock her up with Hillary Clinton. And then he came into office and said, oh, no, she's a nice person, I'll let her go. Don't think he's going to make that mistake again. So James Comey, I think, is just the first of several big scalps.
Yeah, I can see, inglorious bastards, Donald Trump standing there talking to you. You got Pam Bondi standing there. You got Kash Patel and Dan Bongino. I need me some scalps.
Well, even better, I think I look at it, Comey or Hillary or any of the other, or Brennan in this case, that are saying they're going, but we had the deal that you would let us go.
Yes.
He says, I tell you what, I'm going to bring you in. That sounds like a pretty good deal.
Yes.
That's where the American people are. And I got to say, as for the supposed backlash and freaking out, I will remind the crowd that they have staked all of their reputation on people like George Floyd, Jimmy Kimmel, and the goobers who do not rouse the crowds anymore. Maryland Man and other illegal immigrant wife beaters are being chucked out of the country, and Americans are responding to it pretty well. And where's that tariff inflation? Oh, yeah.
Oh,
it
yes.
didn't happen.
Oh, yeah, and then they had the GDP's up 4%. The economy's growing by almost 4%, 3.8%. You've got durable goods, the most impacted by tariffs. They actually went down. And then $27 billion in tariffs last month. My God in heaven, they have never been proven so wrong. We've been saying this for years, but we've been told, shut up, that's disinformation and misinformation. As far as I'm concerned, they can all kiss my butt. I'm just so done with this. And doesn't it just feel good that this is happening? Finally. We've been waiting for it to happen. We've been pushing them to happen. And Tony, it's happening.
Well, I'd say even more than just feeling good that it's happening.
Yes.
You know who's been more angry at me this week than anyone else?
Your wife.
The rhino mealy mouth. Oh. Well, no, my wife's been thrilled, actually. The mealy mouth, whiny Republicans, pseudo-Republicans, who after the latest Dallas anti-ICE terror attack said, we need to wait several days before we know the motive for sure.
Please.
And I said, I will tell you what the motive is, the exact thing, and I was right. And you were right, and we're always right. So they can be mad. I don't care. I like watching them writhe around that their little moral high horse goody two-shoes, both sides they're bad, got shoved in the mud again.
Well, this is why I say, because I'm not stupid. Why do I know that all of the violence is coming from the left? Because I'm not stupid. I mean, when you actually have people write on your shell casings the talking points of the frickin' Democrat Party, do you really need any more explanation? We're not stupid, Tony. My God.
Rob, you only see those phrases in two places. Number one, on bullet casings. Number two, on their yard signs.
Yes.
Period.
All right, we got more coming up with Tony Kinnett on the Rob Carson Show. Going to talk a little bit about January the 6th. We got a bunch of stuff to get to, so stick around. This, my friends, is the Rob Carson Show.
There's no explicitly leftist motive here. Instead, it was motivated by maybe a hatred of ICE.
Despite the motive in this case not yet being clear, President Trump, almost immediately blamed what he called radical left Democrats.
Well, it certainly says that it may point to motive. But I would not jump to any conclusions just yet.
So there's this performative nature to this. So he hates ICE, say, but that's not enough.
And while President Trump and members of his administration are tying this attack to what they call rhetoric on the left against ICE and law enforcement, investigators on the ground here say that
Oh, we're not that stupid, and you're not that stupid either. Dear God in heaven. I'm just so tired of this nonsense. Tony Kinnett, I mean, they're not that stupid. They are clearly just political tools. They are purely just propagandists for the Democrat Party. Tony Kinnett, Daily Signal, and WIBC Radio.
So I'm going to level this one out real quick and clear here. I have received, to my own person and my family, threats after the death of my friend, Charlie Kirk. And since that point, one of those individuals from northern Indiana who has attempted to contact and threaten in the exact same manner that he might be inclined to come do something else, I want to say just two very clear things. Number one, the law enforcement apparatus of the state and the federal government is already en route to arrest him. Good. And number two, if he shows his face around here, he will leave with holes, if he leaves at all.
Good.
And anyone in this country who perpetuates this kind of, you have to stop the Nazis before they kill you, talk about federal law enforcement, you deserve to be fired. You deserve to be unemployed for a very long time. And as I pass you on the street asking me for change, I will spit in the cup you hold out.
Nice.
Because you have brought it on yourself. Matthew Dowd at ABC, standing on that, standing on the FBI thing around January 6th, standing on whatever he can. He deserved to get fired for laughing about the deaths of those who disagree with him.
Yeah, I want you to hear. This is Jack Posobiec. I had a chance to meet him, actually, a few weeks ago, and Megyn Kelly about if the left wants to hold out an olive branch. I say we smack it out of their hands.
Leftist killing spree of bloody September that we are currently living through. I don't understand why it didn't happen after Charlie Kirk was killed, and I don't understand why it hasn't happened yet. I mean, are you feeling that way?
Yes, and I feel like we need fighters right now. We don't need olive branch holders. We've been trying that for 15 years. It hasn't worked. We ran like the nicest, most milquetoast Republican ever born in Mitt Romney. I mean, he's basically a Democrat now. That's how close he was to the line of being.
You know, Tony, I got to tell you, there is no, as much as prayer is a very powerful thing in my life, and Charlie Kirk's passing got me back in the pews. We can't pray our way out of this. People have got to be punished here on earth. I'm going to leave it up to law enforcement. But defensively, if I have to do anything, it's going to get big and ugly. But honestly, I'm done with this nonsense. They have burned and rampaged and thrown a temper tantrum across this country for the last decade, and I'm freaking tired of it.
As our friend Jack Posobiec also said, they shot the moderate. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that you know the kind, gentle, debate-ready life of Charlie Kirk is now like the methodology to go forth law enforcement and Mitt Romney our way through this. Again, that's why I said last week, the people who've been the most angry with me have been the moderate Republicans. I'm done. I'm done. There is no free market, gentle debate, exchange of ideas when one party hates the country, hates you, wants you dead, and then will laugh about your widow and children on social media. Go to hell.
100%. And also, you know, they said we needed to tone down the rhetoric because it was coming from both sides after Charlie died. And then when Donald Trump had nothing to do with Jimmy Kimmel being removed from television, they suddenly went right back to calling Trump a Nazi and a fascist again. You can't deal with these people. They are insane. You've got 80% of the public saying that we are in a political war, essentially. Here's the thing. I said 80% of us believe the country's headed in the wrong direction. 80% of us can come together to save her. And Democrat Party is going to have to either reinvent itself or fade into the dustbin of history. They are leading into the dustbin, Tony, and I'm done with them. There's no negotiating. There's no dialogue to have with them. Like on this budget, Donald Trump saying, "Suck it." You say you want all this free stuff. You want health care for illegals. You want transgenderism for kids and all that. Shut down the damn government. And this time we'll fire them instead of just laying them off. I'm done with it, bro.
Yeah, and then there is no reason that I should be like convinced in this way to suddenly lay down my arms while the other person is holding the weapon that they are desiring to remove me with. I don't feel bad. And by the way, immediately after Sinclair and Nexstar decided they didn't want to have Jimmy Kimmel back on, their own company decision, Bernie Sanders got on Twitter and he said, hey, I want to shut down Sinclair and Nexstar. We have to intervene. So all of a sudden, political pressure on media outlets is good again. These goofballs get rid of them.
You know, the thing about this...
Leave them out of the conversation.
This Dallas shooter used the same kind of gun and the same ammunition as the Charlie Kirk shooter. But he's from the right. Dallas County Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Management downloads, conducted multiple searches of ballistic and the Charlie Kirk shot video. He searched apps that track the presence of ICE, which is what Democrats are promoting. One of the handwritten notes said, hopefully this will give ICE agents a real terror to think, is there a sniper with AP rounds on that roof? The Democrat Party owns it.
And he was encouraged by the Charlie Kirk shooting directly.
Yeah.
This isn't even a month-long mental instability at this point. No. It is point to point, day to day, and there will be others because people aren't being rounded up and arrested on inciting that kind of crap.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, I want to wrap things up on a cool, note. Tim Allen, you know the comedian Tim Allen. He was moved by Erica Kirk's words about forgiving the man who killed her husband. Now, she still wants justice here on earth and the afterlife. She's just leaving up to God, by the way, and the justice system. But here's what Tim Allen said. That man, that young man, I forgive him. That moment deeply affected me. I have struggled for over 60 years to forgive the man who killed my dad. I will say those words now as I type. I forgive the man who killed my father. Peace be with you. Charlie Kirk's passing and that speech by her are so profound, and they have put this movement toward God and good and freedom into lightspeed. Tony, last comments.
The American culture has cast aside the bitter, angry, resentful atheism and hedonism of the left. It is returning to where America should be, and it requires Americans to be individually invested so that the wool is not pulled over their eyes ever again.
Amen, brother. Tony Kinnett, my friend, where can people find your glorious work and watch your incredible podcast?
Well, if you're a masochist, you can find me on X at Zetonus, Chetonus. Otherwise, go to youtube.com/dailysignal. That's where the show is.
All right, brother. God bless you and yours, and have a wonderful weekend, all right?
Thanks a ton, Rob.
Always good. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show.
Do you have an idea for a book? Fiction? Nonfiction?
Streamers.
We can help you put it together and bring it to market.
I got confused and distracted. I do that a lot. Look who's online here. We got a whole bunch of folks on the Twitter. Trump's government shutdown is trending on Twitter because Twitter has a lot of these morons who immediately go on and lie, and they say Trump's destroying America, and they get that to trend on Twitter. It's all fake. It's all fake. It's all nonsense. And honestly, it's kind of old after a while. It's been going on for about a decade, so who gives a flying rip? Over on the Rumbly-Roo, we got Scarecrow and Curtis 747. Absolutely stupid for a woman to vote Democrat, okay? You got a lot of talk over there on the Proud to be a Jew there, Curtis 747. By the way, new on Facebook this week, on Newsmax Facebook, already owning the numbers, gigantic numbers on Facebook and growing. Thank you so much for watching it. I should say YouTube. We're new on YouTube. We've been on Facebook. We're on YouTube this week, and the numbers are gigantic. Immediately #1 streaming for Newsmax because you guys know what this show's all about and you love it, and I appreciate you so much. Also, we're on Instagram with Newsmax this week, which is amazing. Over on the Facebook, we got Carol Leftwich watching there. We got, let's see, Pranay Yaprachat, good to see you there as well. Bruce Lee, shut the front door. Bruce Lee is watching the stream. Oh my God, it's amazing. Thank you. Good to hear. And I'm kicking some major butt, so it makes kind of sense that Bruce Lee is watching over there on Facebook. We got about 12,000 people watching on Twitter as well, so appreciate you being here, guys. Appreciate you being here. Hope you're enjoying the show. Let's see what we're going to do here. Oh, yes, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to have some more fun. Oh, yes, I'm going to play some Mike Davis next. This is fun. I've been invited to a gathering for the Article 3 project in a week or two. It's going to be so fun. Get to meet him finally in person. I love it. Mike Davis is a hero. Do good.
310 here.
Dig it.
I would say to these lawfare Democrats that politicized and weaponized intel agencies and law enforcement to go after President Trump, his top aides, and his allies, these lawfare Democrats better lawyer up.
Yeah, baby.
Because justice is definitely coming. I have publicly called for this for over 3 years since the Mar-a-Lago raid. I've gone on your show and talked about this many times, Jesse. We had an election, and the American people are going to get accountability.
Yes, they are. Here is a little more of that sweet, sweet Mike Davis Article 3 project on Jim Comey's indictment last night.
Well, I don't know if any case is easy, particularly in the Eastern District of Virginia that's loaded up with Democrats, including a lot of government workers.
Yeah, that's true.
But I would say this is a clear-cut case if the jury follows the evidence of false statements provided to the Senate Judiciary Committee by FBI Director James Comey.
Yeah, good news. Good news. Oh, by the way, the statute of limitations was going to end on the 30th of this month for Jim Comey. Also, the statute of limitations on getting up to $10,000 in a rebate from Birch Gold with qualifying purchases. Yeah, look how I worked that in there. It's amazing. Your statute of limitations is about to run out. If you want to invest in gold, you got to do it right now, because at the end of the month, September the 30th, that's when the $10,000 rebate for qualifying purchase on Birch Gold ends. By the way, gold bullion up 35% this year, 45% since last year. Maybe you ought to take advantage of the situation. How does that sound? What you got to do is just go to Birch Gold, text my name Rob to 989898, Rob to 989898. You're going to get some useful information, no obligation, but you've got to do it now, like today. I'm not kidding here. I'm not making a joke here. You got to get it done, because it didn't happen overnight. So get the information, then they can say, hey, you contacted us by the 30th, and we can get the ball rolling, and then we can get your FIRE away or 401k converted into precious metals, gold, platinum, whatever, or any savings, because your savings isn't doing much there either, because savings, obviously, savings interest rates are lousy as well. Just kind of lays there, grows a little bit. I'm going to leave that one alone. Anyway, text my name, Rob, to 989898, Rob to 989898. Now, coming up next hour, we're going to get into the fact that the FBI had 274 plainclothes agents embedded in the January the 6th crowd. It's like they kind of expected something to happen on Capitol Hill, or actually encouraged it to happen, to entrap people. Like, I don't know, the Reichstag, which I said it was on January the 7th. Because there was no damage to the interior of the Capitol, and nobody brought guns, so how could there be an insurrection? Also, Doug Burns going to be talking to us about the Jim Comey case, breaking it down, and then what's coming for the other people who weaponized the DOJ against Trump and us. That's in hour number 2. Don't go anywhere.
This is the right.
No blind rhetoric.
No talking down to me.
Don't tell me how to think.
Don't tell me how to think. Don't tell me how to think.
I trust NEWSMAX. NEWSMAX.
They don't tell me how to think. They let me decide.
Real news for real people.
Hi, it's Tony Marino, host of the super popular NEWSMAX Daily Podcast, a rundown of the day's top headlines and top highlights of NEWSMAX shows and interviews you may have missed, plus some sports, stock markets, and even some yucks, all packed into about 20 minutes. Search for the NEWSMAX Daily with me, Tony Marino, on your favorite podcast platform, and check out our entire lineup of great podcasts, including Greg Kelly, Rob Carson, and Jerry Callahan at newsmax.com/listen.
rolling now.
You are about to hear the most interesting, informative, thought-provoking, and funny show in America. On air and on the World Wide Web. This is the Rob Carson Show.
And by the grace of God, it is finally Friday. Friday already, the 26th. The last Friday of September, for crying out loud. Can you believe that? A lot of stuff to get to. Doug Burns, former federal prosecutor, at the bottom of the hour to talk about the indictment for Comey and soon Christopher Wray, because he lied. He said that there were no agents embedded in January 6th crowd. Turns out there were 274 of them. So maybe they can be bunkmates. I'd put Comey on the top bunk because he's real tall and everything. But that's coming up later this hour. We have a special guest today. She's a guest today. Normally she calls and delivers some delightful commentary. I'm sure she has some to deliver today. But we have her on because she's also an author writing a memoir, Chronicles of Deplorabella. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Deplorabella right here, ladies and gentlemen. How you doing today?
Well, Rob, I'm coming, and hell's coming with me.
Yes.
And there are millions of us who have had enough. These people on the left have the blood of our martyrs dripping from their hands. They're out to destroy our civilization, and we're not going to let them.
Boom, boom, boom. I couldn't have put it together better. And by the way, I did order your book. Now tell me real quick, tell me about this book. Because, listen, I'm going to tell you, and you know, I've known you for a few years now, and I was on stage with you a while back in Baltimore, and you stood up on stage, and you delivered an improvisational, like 10 or 15 minutes, and I was like, oh, great, I got to follow that. You got a standing ovation. For those of you who don't know you, tell everybody about you and what got you here. To become not only a favorite on this radio program, but also now a book author?
Well, I had to resort to writing because people could only listen to me speak for so long. So I went to the page to
Maybe I should have become a writer a long time ago.
No, not at all. I was born into, I had the good fortune to be born in America, which is winning the lottery, but the bad fortune to be born into a dysfunctional family where I suffered various kinds of abuse. And the worst of it, actually, was that my parents were staunch Stalinists. They were communists. They hated America. And so I was weaned on Marxist dialectic, and I was fed a childhood of hatred of everything that makes this country exceptional, extraordinary, and worth living in and defending. So it was a long path for me to get rid of those roots which go so deep and the poison which is so pervasive. It took me a long time to survive that dysfunctional setting and to depart from the indoctrination that was my heritage.
What did it for you? What did it for you? What hit you? Because I didn't know where I was politically. My dad was a Roosevelt Democrat. My mother was a Reagan Republican. And I got out of college. I didn't know. I knew I was pro-life because I was adopted and all that and whatever. And then I heard about this guy named Rush Limbaugh, and I listened to him for about 2 weeks, and I earned my degree in 2 weeks, and then I started writing comedy for him. What happened? What happened with you? How did you get baptized into the conservative movement?
Well, part of it was I had the good fortune to walk into the furnished basement of a high school friend and run into this really good-looking guy who turned out to be my husband of 60 years. And so I met at 16 the man who helped retrieve me, pull me back from the despair, persuade me that fear was not my fate, and that what was given to me and imposed upon me was not my destiny. So part of it was my husband. Part of it was reading. I went the path of many red diaper babies from David Horowitz. I mean, there are so many of us who gradually saw through the lies and the madness of people on the left. Then there was my educational experience in New York City as a teacher and assistant principal, working with minority kids for many years and feeling that they were not victims, that they were individuals worthy of learning to exercise critical thinking and skepticism and to scrutinize and investigate. And we all found out together that this is a hell of a country. Part of it was the events of 9/11, where illusions imploded when those buildings came down. So gradually I became aware of the threat on campuses as communists took over. I became aware of the Islamist threat of a global caliphate, which has never been more omnipresent than it is now. Look at Europe. And it was the experience also of members of my family as they came to their own conclusions about this, and some of them took very brave steps to combat what was happening to our beloved nation. So gradually, my time out west, experiencing people outside the bubble of the East Coast, learning to identify with a great many individuals who truly reflected a diversity of viewpoints, but who had in common a patriotic love for this country and its foundational values. So I kind of made a journey from Jerusalem to Athens, sidestepped through the Enlightenment, a little Rush Limbaugh on the side, lots of wonderful writers, including people who exposed the calumny and the perfidy of the left. And so gradually I came to the conclusion that what we have is worth fighting for, and that people like Charlie Kirk are the polar opposite of people like Zoran Mamdani, and that this thing that we're fighting, Rob, is much bigger than any of us imagined.
Yes,
I mean, you've just closed the recent subterfuge of January 6th. We all know about the insurrections of 2020, but what we're now finding out is that this long march through the institution has made a mockery of what we hold to be worth preserving. A lot of the Democrat Party, for example, is no longer the home of liberals. It hasn't been for decades. The bureaucrats, the unions, the philanthropies, the academia, the teachers' unions, the groups like Soros, the media, absolutely. The media must lose public access to the airwaves because they are not entitled to it. Congressional law says you have to serve the public interest. They do not. So all of these groups are arrayed against us because they've lost at the ballot box, because some elections were too big to rig. They are resorting increasingly to the bullet. And their culture of assassination, as documented by the Rutgers study and coming out in Rasmussen and other studies as well, tells us what we know all too well. These people will use any means necessary.
Yeah, but we are better armed intellectually and physically, and I do believe, and you listen to the show, I really do believe this is a God moment. It is not just political. There is God involved, absolutely. Let me ask you this, because most people your age, you're a little older than me, are resigned to riding around in the Class B RV, going to the Grand Canyon, getting together, maybe doing some train dominoes with your friends, maybe playing some mahjong or whatever. But you seem to, first of all, just what you just said right there, just your words are so finely crafted. That's one of the reasons why I go, holy hell, I've still got a ways to go. But you finely craft your words, your thoughts, your life experience, your common sense, which is the things that I put together for this program. When did you become Deplorabella?
A few years ago. And I took that on as a combination, nom de plume and nom de guerre, name of war.
And the deplorables.
Yeah, and that's where it comes from. That's where it comes from. I wanted to associate myself with all the people who were hated by the left, people who care about faith and the nuclear family, the traditional values, and Western civilization, and Judeo-Christian beliefs, because I have a lot to atone for. There were too many years when I stupidly was a useful idiot for the left, and I also feel that I owe it to my children and my grandchildren and all those who share this country with me to speak up and to speak out. I was an educator by choice. I always felt that kids, especially the so-called marginalized, black and brown kids in the city, deserved the same access to ideas that the rest of us did. And I never thought that race determined who you were. I never thought that somebody I was reading had to be relevant to me by sharing the same sex and race. That's absurd. I would have eliminated some of the most brilliant minds from my consideration had I been so stupid. The whole purpose of education, Rob, is to make you relevant to the world, not to make the world relevant to an adolescent perspective.
You and I, we crossed paths a few years ago, and we're both on the ascension. We both have spent a good deal of our lives kind of, in the background. I did music radio. I had to sell cars. You were in education. Then all of a sudden, you've experienced this meteoric rise. You're still not there yet. I mean, you were just now, you're just leaving the atmosphere. All right. I mean, this is you got the book now, Chronicles of Deplorabella, and I believe that the more people know you, and I'm going to do my level best to make sure they know you, the bigger you're going to become. And I just think you're a remarkable human being. I really, really do. I believe that it is fortuitous that we have crossed paths. I believe that we are at a confluence of history that has brought all of us, everybody who's watching this, everybody who's listening to this right now, everybody who's been on the road, who's been following you and me on the radio for years. We got here for a reason, and now we're beginning to really see the reaction to the action of evil, and I really think great things are ahead, Deplorabella.
Well, I thank you. Can I mention where my book is available?
Of course.
Okay, if you go to Amazon and just Google Deplorabella, just look up Deplorabella, you can get the ebook, the paperback, or the hard copy. What's important is that you arm yourself with programs and the information that Rob gives you on a daily basis, 5 days a week. Read the great minds. Check out Hillsdale College, PragerU. There are so many people who are fighting for what's right. Support our veterans. Support our warriors. Support the Trump team because they are out there. Their lives are on the line, and they are not stopping. And I am so glad that we are finally seeing some threat, promise of accountability for those monsters behind the Obama coup, and that includes Mr. James Comey, 8647 indeed, who have been doing everything possible to bring down this country and fundamentally transform the greatest hope that mankind has ever had.
We've turned it back. We've turned back the horde. We've turned back the horde, Deplorabella. All right, we got to wrap things up. Chronicles of Deplorabella. Chronicles of Deplorabella on Amazon. Tell me eventually you're going to do an audiobook because I want to hear you. I know you think your voice doesn't. Whatever. I'd love to have you reading it, girl. I would. Chronicles of Deplorabella. Get it. And Deplorabella, we're going to be on stage again soon, okay?
I can't wait.
All right.
I can't wait, Rob.
Hey,
keep giving it to them.
I want you to know I'm praying for your health. I hope you're getting better.
Thank you.
We love you. I love you. God bless you. Tell your son and your family I said hi.
I will do that. All the best to you, and God bless you,
All right,
Rob.
let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show.
Free in libs' heads I'm living, the fits I am giving to Whoopi, Sonny, and Joy. Rent free, I'm occupying. Rosie is lying. She says I'm not in her head. get down to it, they have TDS real bad. Hatred, just watch it as it spreads, because inside their heads I live.
Trump's new port is on. We'll clean up the mess. The mess Kamala, she did not address. Open borders, he will abort. And illegals, he will deport. Thomas Homan, he will say no, man. You must go, man. Mexico, man, you're headed back. Thomas Homan, he's a former cop. Border jumpers, Tom is gonna stop. Used to be in charge of ICE. Two illegals, Tom will not be nice. Thomas Homan, they ought to know, man. He's not a showman. Thomas Homan will kick you out.
You better start packing now.
Thomas Homan, he is your foe, man. You've got to go,
In fact, tomorrow, I don't even like to say it because I'll be arrested.
Well, let's not say it.
We need to go, I'll say it. All right. We need to go in to the Capitol.
Let's go!
I'm going to put it out there. I'm probably going to go to jail for it, okay? Tomorrow, we need to go into the Capitol. Into the Capitol. What?
No.
Peacefully.
Fed. Yeah, that's Ray Epps. You can't say anything about Ray Epps because, that's disinformation, disinformation, even though he was telling everybody, go in the Capitol tomorrow, go in the Capitol. He was at the Capitol. He went up and told the guys holding the barricade, let the barricade down. But he was not affiliated in any way, shape, or form with whatever happened there. It was one of the things you couldn't talk about because it was disinformation. Remember that? There are still people who don't want you to talk about the January 6ers, even though they weren't terrorists. They had their lives destroyed. I know several of them. I corresponded with several of them while they were in prison for 4 freaking years without a trial. I want the people who put them there to replace them. I said it was the Reichstag on January the 7th. I knew it was a setup. The FBI has acknowledged it had 274 plainclothes agents in massive crowds on January the 6th, 2021. More than 4.5 years after questions were first raised about the level of FBI involvement, the news comes in the wake of claims by the U.S. Department of Justice Officer of Inspector General that the FBI had no undercover personnel in the January the 6th crowds. None whatsoever. None whatsoever. Here is why Chris Wray is in so much trouble, because this is what he said.
Things here, and please don't distract here, because we're focusing on those who were there in an undercover capacity on January 6th. How many were there?
Again, I'm not sure that I can give you that number as I sit here. I'm not sure there were undercover agents on scene.
I find that kind of a remarkable statement, Director. at this point, you don't know whether there were undercover federal agents, FBI agents in the crowd or in the Capitol on January 6th?
I say that because I want to be very careful. There have been...
You're a lying Sacagawea. 274 of them. The same report disclosed that 26 FBI confidential human sources were in the January 6th crowd, 4 of whom entered the Capitol. You can't believe a damned word they have to say. The DOJ Inspector General said only 3 of the FBI informants were assigned by the Bureau to come to Washington and report on domestic terrorism subjects and those who were attending the event. Of the 26, 4 entered the Capitol. None was authorized by the FBI to break the law or enter a restricted area, nor was any CHS directed by the FBI to encourage others to commit illegal acts on January 6th. Again, you can't trust any of them because they've been lying for 4.5 years. Undercover Metropolitan Police Department officers have acknowledged inciting the crowds by helping protesters climb over barriers, encouraging them to continue on to the Capitol, and applauding those who committed vandalism. Most of the video footage shot by dozens of undercover MPD officers on Jan 6 has never been made public. They destroyed evidence. They created a January the 6th committee that was based on a lie, a kangaroo court. And I don't have any more patience for people telling me I can't talk about it. Here's a little montage of January the 6th in case you forgot.
Do you know the biggest crowd I've ever seen? January 6th. They were there largely to protest a corrupt and rigged and stolen election.
Democrats can say there needs to be unrest in the streets, but they're going to impeach the president for saying
peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard.
They lied about it all.
Whenever they take a clip from President Trump, they always leave out that ending clip of let's march peacefully and patriotically to the Capitol.
Just the key point that, yes, there was a pro-Trump rally at which the president spoke, and we can absolutely talk about all the things the president said there. But the idea that that rally is the thing that got out of hand and that somehow resulted in the breaching of the Capitol, that rally was very far from the Capitol. And the people who, as you say, did the initial breach that allowed everybody else to come in.
I remember at CPAC, I was in the atrium of the National Harbor Hotel, and I heard the national anthem. And it was men's voices. And I walked over to the edge of the atrium, and I looked down, and there was a bar there, and out in front of it were about 150 people. The Jan 6ers. The men who spent 4.5 years in prison or 4 years in prison were singing the national anthem like they did in jail, like they did, and by the way, became a #1 hit, a #1 download because they were imprisoned, and people are going to have to pay for it. And your Democrat Party said it was the worst thing since 9/11.
September 11th, 2001, and January 6th, 2021.
You lie. Come on.
Newsflash, nobody gives a about it. We all admit that shit was pretty dumb, but that's about it. When we saw the news, we were shocked and we were kind of tense. Like, damn. Then we forgot about it by
Been playing this for years.
Nobody's walking around stressing over Jan 6. It happened and that was it. We haven't gave a damn since. It's all good when riots are kept in the hood, but now you're freaking out because this was in the neck of your woods. Now it's a big deal. Now it gets real. Now it's important to us. Not back then in 2020 when stores were boarded up. Not back then when goods were looted and folks were brutalized. Not then, but right now, because it happened to the suit and ties. That shit's way above my head. We were all year with demonstrations that left dozens dead. But people like Nancy didn't flinch. In fact, they loved it then. People will do what they do. Ain't that what you said?
It was all BS. It was all a lie. One of the many psyops committed against Trump and his voters. And payback is here. Payback is here. You will pay for things in this life and the next one. And we have waited a very long time for it. If you want to call it retribution, cool. It's retribution. It's also accountability and justice. Doug Burns going to be joining us to talk about Jim Comey, among other things, on the other side of this break. And this is the Rob Carson Show.
Fraud investigation of pencil neck. Bet Adam Schiff is a nervous wreck. Jail-bound, ships on the way for his defrauding of Fannie Mae. Adam, you better prepare. Prison stripes are what you're gonna wear. On his application, pencil neck lied. For his crimes, Adam should be tried. It's gonna be a real treat when they take away his Senate seat. Step down, do it today. Your auto pen pardon's gonna go away.
He's got these magical doctors who claim that he was shot in the ear, but his ear, I guess, grew back.
Joy Reid is a nutcase. Says I wasn't shot. That's why she doesn't have a job. 'Cause brain she hasn't got. Common sense she hasn't got. Joy Reid's insane. Her opinions are inane. Now she is unemployed as she should be. Joy for you and me. If I ran MSNBC, this is what I'd do. I'd tell Joe and Mika to hit the road, and I'd can Mad Cow too. Joy Reid is a nut. She's out on her butt. Me in the White House made her lose her mind. With hatred, she is blind. White and Rosie, give us a break. Trying to blame me for the floods is sick. It isn't true. I ought to sue. America was glad to lose her. Rosie, she has TDS. Trump lives rent-free in her tiny brain. She is obsessed and maybe possessed. I'm so glad she left the USA. She's calling for a revolution, wants to throw out the Constitution. She's threatening every institution. Rosie O'Donnell threats she's making. Wants our government overtaken. Would like to see us all forsaken now. She's insane, she's insane, she's insane. That's Rosie. I'm so glad she doesn't live here. No one really cares what Rosie thinks. Give it a rest.
We're eating pickles from the dollar store. Hot Pockets from the Dollar General. Chicken wings expired yesterday. We're eating pickles from the dollar store. Hot Pockets from the Dollar General. Chicken wings expired yesterday.
Convict him, bar him from future service, have the prosecutors, the local prosecutors in New York, pursue him for the fraudster that he was before he ever became president, lock him up for the garden variety frauds he did there, but don't give him that center stage, that dominant role in our national life just down the street from where Joe Biden is trying to heal this nation.
Yeah, that is Jim Comey, who was walking on the beach last night, and there were some shells spelled out, "You're screwed." It was weird how that happens. Joining us on the Newsmax Hotline, it's been too long, Doug Burns, former federal prosecutor. How you doing, my friend?
Good, Rob.
My kingdom for a slow news day. It ain't today, my friend. A lot of things happening. Jim Comey last night, 5 days shy of the statute of limitations, and he lied to Congress. Tell me what's on your mind. What do you think of the charges that he faces, and are they going to stick?
Well, it's interesting because the more serious conduct that he did in violation of the law, there's bad news and good news for him. The good news is a lot of the conduct that he did is barred by the statute of limitations, so they brought this charge. The bad news is they may be able to introduce that in court, believe it or not, as, prior bad conduct and stuff. But on this particular case, very, very straightforward. He testified under oath to Congress. Ted Cruz, Comey caught a little bit of a bad break. Harvard Law graduate, former law clerk to Chief Justice Rehnquist, very, very smart litigator, and he boxed him in really hard on this question of did you authorize leaks of information to the media, and he said no. Yet his own associates, Jim Baker and Andy McCabe, have both said that they were, in fact, directed by Comey to do it. And as I like to jokingly say, there's a highly technical legal term for that. It's called lying.
Yes. Now, will McCabe be called to testify against him?
Well, that's a great, great question because there's a secondary part to the question, and this is very, very interesting. McCabe and Baker are going to be essentially hostile-type witnesses.
Yes.
Okay? They are not in favor, ostensibly, of this prosecution. They don't want to see their former colleague, be harmed, and it's going to be very, very tricky. The answer to your question is yes. They will be subpoenaed by the government to appear, but the only question is, you can subpoena somebody who's unwilling to meet with you, discuss their testimony, and that's that hostile landscape I'm describing, and that becomes a little bit risky, obviously, to put them up on the stand if you haven't had an opportunity to debrief them and speak with them and prepare them and so on. So we'll see how it plays out. But again, when the books are written, the key to this whole case is that he engaged in much more serious conduct, and that's why there's some, poetic justice in it, even though this case itself is going to be a little bit of a he said. Comey's going to say, no, I didn't. But again, there's other ancillary stuff. I'm sure you remember, I'm sure your listeners remember how glib and arrogant he was when he said in an interview, yeah, I gave the stuff to my friend, the professor at Columbia Law. I gave it to him to put out in the public square. At the time, I myself was blown away by the arrogance of it. So again, he did a lot of leaking in Washington. That's no big secret, okay?
No, not at all. And as I've said so many times that the left has exposed its flank so we can kick it in the ass. They did this out of arrogance and hubris. They assumed that they would be able to put Donald Trump in jail. They assumed they could take him off the ballot, and then ultimately they assumed that he would be murdered before he won, and now he's riding back into Washington, D.C. triumphantly, and this is finally happening, Doug. This is finally happening. This is the first time that an FBI director has been charged like this. Am I right?
Yeah, and you have to identify the three cases: Roger Stone, Michael Flynn, Peter Navarro. Okay, those were disgraceful, repeat, disgraceful prosecutions. Okay, disgraceful the way it was handled, even on such matters as arresting them. What are you kidding me? As Bruce Cutler famously said in the John Gotti case, here's a quarter. You could have just called me, and I would have brought the defendant to court. Right, and that's John Gotti, by the way. So here, in a white-collar context, a political context, it's beyond disgraceful to have 40 agents rolling up in the tactical vests with, automatic weapons. It's insane. So here, apparently they're letting Comey surrender, whatever, and the arraignment's going to be in October. I'll break down really fast a couple of the pro points and the con points, and this is straight law, nothing to do with politics.
Good.
Yeah. The pro points for Comey are, A, and you've heard all the other experts say this, obviously, Rob, you know, the Eastern District of Virginia is a very liberal district, okay? Yeah. So the jury pool is going to be extremely liberal. We remember what happened with that lawyer, I think his name was Kleinsmith. Not only did they acquit him up there, but that was in Washington, in fairness. They turn around, jurors in the hallway after the verdict say the government shouldn't have brought this case. So you have a little bit of that dynamic. Number two, the judge, his background is as a federal defender, which is fine. I actually like to see that sometimes, but that'll actually help Comey a little bit. Right. Then he has Patrick Fitzgerald as his lawyer. He's a highly, highly skilled lawyer, obviously. We know his background. He was United States Attorney in Chicago, et cetera, et cetera. But then on the con side, as I said, when you look at this case from the forest for the trees, there's a lot more misconduct than just that answer he gave to Ted Cruz. I mean, what they did with the FISA court, that you and I have discussed many, many times, they actually misrepresented information to a federal court to get a warrant, and it gets better because, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was Cooper on CNN, asked him and others around him, if you knew then, what you know now, would you have gone for that warrant? And they had no hesitation in saying, no, we wouldn't have. So, I mean, their behavior was a disgrace.
Oh, dear God.
It's mind-boggling to me, the level of delusion. So when I put on MSNOW or CNN to a little bit of a lesser extent, because they're trying to be a little bit more fair, but on MS, we'll talk about that. These people look right in the camera. They have no hesitancy. They go, this is going after your enemies as a tyrant. And I'm sitting there saying, you got to be kidding me with that argument.
Yeah. Well, Doug, they set that up years ago. They said that Donald Trump, retribution. Donald Trump stopped using the words retribution when he was campaigning. But they had their defense all ready to go. They know that the FBI, everybody on network news knows that the FBI was weaponized against Donald Trump and his followers. They hate us just as much. Bull crap, you're not that freaking stupid. I'm so done with this nonsense. You're not so damn stupid that you would do this. Now, I want to mention this. The FBI had 274 plainclothes agents embedded in the January the 6th crowd. Christopher Wray said in testimony before Congress there were none. Is the feces going to hit the fan with this?
Could be. When you look at COVID and where it originated and then the whole vaccine thing, and then you look at J6, I don't think I'm being melodramatic at all in saying that these were just breathtaking campaigns of propaganda, misinformation, and by the way, bullying free speech. Now, on the landscape of who's going to be charged, you know, from my mouth to God's ears, as they say, it's 1,000% merited that Clapper Brennan get charged, okay?
Wow, love it. Love it, love it, love it. Doug, can you hold on for the next break? Because I want to get into a little bit more on the Jan 6, the Jan 6 committee members destroying evidence, and also freedom of speech, what it covers. Does it cover when you call somebody a fascist and they put it on a bullet casing when they murder somebody? That's coming up. This is the Rob Carson Show.
every single ICE agent who's engaged in this aggressive overreach, no matter what it takes, no matter how long it takes, will of course be identified. This is not the 1930s.
Secret police who are masked, who are intimidating, who are scaring people. These Gestapo-like tactics.
This is Gestapo-like behavior.
Donald Trump's modern-day Gestapo is scooping folks up off the streets.
When you compare the old films of the Gestapo grabbing people off the streets of Poland, it does look like a Gestapo operation.
Yeah, Democrats need to first of all say that, because I think Tim Walz declared war on gazpacho, completely different. But clearly we have breached a new line here with regard to freedom of speech in America, and I don't believe we've seen it challenged to this degree in history, Doug Burns, because now we have years of Democrats using words like fascist and Gestapo. Now those words are being used in manifestos. Now those words are being carved into shell casings for people who are assassinating people like Charlie Kirk. I know that it's difficult to prove that your words cause an action, but shouldn't it maybe disqualify you from public office?
No question about it. I would break it out into two categories. Number one, you used the key word causation. So from a criminal law standpoint, it would be difficult. Even though, by the way, I'll give this editorial with no hesitancy, you could certainly try to make an argument that when they're using this terminology and then violence parrots it, where you have fascist, written on shell casings and stuff, you could try to argue that there's causation. But we'll assume argument.
Well, what about Charlie Manson and his followers, for God's sake, Doug?
Exactly. But the point is, but the second category is ethics and censures and sanctions and everything else. And I agree with you that on many levels, if not most levels, you should be disqualified, censured, even removed from office. That's how strongly I feel about it, and I know how strongly you feel about it, for calling law enforcement agents in the United States of America, comparing them to Nazis, is just beyond the pale and should lead to some steps to try to disqualify those who are saying that. I mean, real quick editorial, very important, Rob, is that with free speech, everybody's so glib. I mean, in a law school classroom, free speech exists, but then there are exceptions. Incitement to violence, fighting words. We've been over this 100 times. So everybody on the left, just glibly, when they're attacking somebody on the right, they're like, what they said clearly incited violence, so how about applying that analysis in reverse to yourselves?
Now, Donald Trump is doing some unprecedented things, declaring Antifa a terrorist organization. There should be all sorts of tentacles tying Antifa to people like George Soros money. Donald Trump has also said he's going to go after this entire terrorism industrial complex in America. This is gigantic. This is going to take a lot of work. But clearly he's finally doing something, and hopefully it will impact what has grown into this massive war against America.
Absolutely, and I've been in a lot of cases, a lot of investigations, where the financial investigative component is huge, okay? So you get Treasury agents in there, and they start looking at bank accounts and wire transfers and money transfers and so on, and that can be a huge, huge component of trying to figure out what the hell is really going on. So you're right, and it is a huge step, and I think it was a good designation because it also allows for additional investigative steps. It also allows in prosecutions for harsher sentences, because under the U.S. sentencing guidelines, there are many, many, many clauses and provisions that say if the defendants are affiliated, with a terrorist organization, you ratchet it up by so many points. So again, Donald Trump is doing a lot of very, very solid things, and the Comey thing, to sort of, square the circle, whatever you want,
please.
is a very important first step, because I said it a million times during the whole fiasco of the Russia hoax. Basically, since they had the cover of the media everything. I had guys who were in DOJ for 30 years telling me with a straight face, "Oh, that's nothing more than right-wing conspiracy talking points, Doug." No. Oh, that's already been investigated and debunked. So my point is, hear me out. If you can achieve a level of propaganda where a guy who was in DOJ 30 years is telling me that, now, for the first time, that it's in the umbrella of a criminal prosecution, maybe everyone will wake up and say, "Wow, you know what? These people really did break the law."
This is why
all I can do is hope, right?
This is why the DOJ is hiring so many attorneys. I mean, they are, Doug. You're inside on this. They're hiring a lot of attorneys because they want to get this. This is remarkable, and it's finally happening. Thank God. Here's a headline today: DOJ orders at least 6 attorneys to investigate an organization funded by George Soros. Several charges possible, including material support for terrorism. You know that there have got to be some strands that are discoverable when it comes to the money of George Soros and some of these other leftist billionaires around the world.
No question about that. And also, remember a refrain that the president says all the time, which is you have these so-called protesters at venues, and they're paid operatives.
Yes.
So why don't we see some money flow on that type of thing? And then all this stuff with the DAs and DA races in all kinds of jurisdictions that are far remote. From where the money's coming from, okay?
Yes.
So all of that could be very productive, Rob, no doubt about it.
Like I said, Doug, the left has exposed its flank so we can kick its ass, and it's happened with the anti-Israel on campus after October the 7th. They tried to cover it up. They exposed all the anti-Semitism on campus, and now, the attempted to put Donald Trump in jail and all of this, and now that Donald Trump is in office, they've exposed themselves. Jim Comey exposed himself, being very arrogant the last couple of years, thinking that Donald Trump would never be the president again. And guess what? Payback is a Hillary. That's all I got to say about it, Doug. Doug, always good to have you on. When I get this studio up and running and when you're in D.C., or even we'll just get you on camera, I want to do extended podcasts with you so I can really pick your brain. Great. It would be awesome.
On camera would be a lot of fun. Thanks.
Well, because you're a very handsome man, Doug.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right, brother. Have a great weekend. We'll talk soon. Let's take a break. It's the Rob Carson Show. Gas chambers. They don't do gas chambers anymore, you guys on Rumble. But I'd be perfectly fine with a firing squad. And I do mean that. George Soros. Hell yeah. 1,000%. The people who committed treason against this country. 1,000%. Alejandro Mayorkas. 100,000%. Alejandro Mayorkas, number one for what he did to the southern border. He caused an invasion of our enemies, and he allowed it. That deserves the ultimate penalty. I agree. I know it's kind of heavy on a Friday, but got to tell the truth. Got to tell the truth. Got to tell the truth. All right, who's watching here? We've got Scarecrow 2 over there on the Rumbly Row. Congressional oversight and lawmaking speeches, preferring the spirit of debate. Okay, a little bit too verbose for me to read that right now. IT Pool says Comey's rear end is getting kicked. First, Letitia is next. Be careful, you might get your foot stuck. Then Hillary, then Obama. Ooh, wouldn't it be cool? Wouldn't it be cool? Wouldn't it be cool? Oh, my God. It would be so nice. I love it. This is part of the Enlightenment we're going through. This is part of the Enlightenment. Politically and spiritually, we're going through. It is. It's happening. It's happening. We need to stay focused, joyous, and patriotic. Seriously. We can be pissed. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. Who's watching over here on the YouTube? Says here, Rob Carson, can you please say I'll be your Huckleberry from the movie Tombstone per Doc Holliday? Oh, I can't impersonate that. It's one of my favorite. I got my son a print of those 4 as they walked into OK Corral for his new apartment. I'm your Huckleberry. I'm your Huckleberry. That was one of the greatest roles in film, let alone greatest role for Val Kilmer. One of the most quotable, one of the best. Oh, my God. And I said, I'm coming and I'm bringing hell with you. And I meant that with Donald Trump coming. Yep. All righty. Doug, Awesome. Always good to have him on the show. I got a couple of things I want to play there that are really funny. Here are a couple of things that are going to make you laugh and make you smile. This is Kathy Hochul yesterday, introduced at the Ryder Cup. You know, I'm not a big golf guy, but I kind of want to watch a little bit of the Ryder Cup this year. I think it's kind of kick-ass. So let me find it here. Here is Kathy Hochul, the governor of the state of New York, being introduced at the, God darn it, things keep moving around on me here. My computer keeps moving around on me. Somebody's messing with me. Here she is being introduced.
Your friend and mine in attendance, Governor Kathy Hochul. Governor, thank you so much for being here. And thank you to your team, too, for getting us ready.
The Governor of State New York, Kathy Hochul.
Boo! You suck!
Governor Hochul, to the teams of New York.
Boo! Yeah, I love it.
To the teams of the New York State Parks.
That made me smile. Last night, fellow Gen Xer, Adam Carolla, he was on with Jesse, and he was talking about ICE and, you know, how the left is attacking ICE and ICE is Gestapo and ICE is all that. And he came up with a suggestion I think is freaking brilliant. And if there's anybody listening to this on Capitol Hill, and I know there are some who listen in Washington, D.C., listen to this suggestion for how to rename ICE.
I came up with a way to save ICE, though.
What?
And this is an exclusive for your show, Jesse. Okay. You're going to love this. All right. They hate ICE. Newsom hates ICE. They're declaring war on ICE. AOC wants to abolish ICE. Immigration Customs Enforcement, right?
Yeah.
They hate ICE. It's a national organization.
Yes.
Start it with the word N. Start it with the word N.
I love it.
Good luck trying to. Can you imagine?
National.
Can you imagine Gavin Newsom? These nice agents pulling up here in
Yes.
nice vans.
Yes.
These nice. We got to stop these nice people.
Yes.
The Gestapo, nice. The nice Gestapo.
Yes.
We would screw them up. It would screw them completely.
You know,
They couldn't
Donald
stop.
Trump
And
loves
it is
branding.
that-
I would not put it past him to add the N.
Oh,
just let it rock.
Wouldn't it be nice? Wouldn't it be nice? Wouldn't it be funny to watch him say these nice Gestapo, these nice Nazis, these nice agents storming in and taking people and throwing them in their nice vans. That is just that's the funniest line of the week. That's even funnier than anything I said. I know, it's hard to believe. That is just friggin' genius. Just genius. Oh, my God in heaven. Hey, I want to remind you real quick before the top of the hour, my TV show, Rob Carson's What in the World, is on Sunday nights on Newsmax, 8:30, following Dr. Michael Savage. If you haven't seen it, it's getting better. It's going to get even better. We're looking at a new set, new look, new whole thing, and new creative stuff, and it's going to be amazing. Go get a Newsmax Plus membership, Newsmax Plus. Watch it on Newsmax. Go to Newsmax.com or NewsmaxTV.com. Last hour of the Rob Carson Show is coming up next today, and it's going to be maybe even better than the previous two, if it's even possible. Find out. Don't go anywhere.
it now.
You are about to hear the most interesting, informative, thought-provoking, and funny show in America. On air and on the World Wide Web. This is the Rob Carson Show.
And by the grace of God, it is finally Friday. I hope you had a nice week. Last couple of weeks has been kind of, I don't know, man. It's been brutal, right? Just brutal. And I got to tell you, I think we're all just done with it, right? I think we've reached our breaking point. We are beyond it. We are not going to take this crap anymore from the left in their temper tantrum, their childish temper tantrum, rolling across the country. The damage it has caused, particularly in the last month. And we're also sick and tired of the damn gaslighting of the media because they know the truth. They know the truth. They know where the attacks on ICE are coming from. They know all of it. They know everything. They know that Jim Comey deserves to be prosecuted. They know it. They're using words like retribution. They started him 2 years ago because they knew if Donald Trump got him back in office, the SOBs who did this to him and us were going to pay for it. And they're still covering their asses. They're still doing it. They're still covering them. And guess what? Compared to when Donald Trump first took office, you don't mean D word for Richard. You have no sway at all, MSNBC, CNN, PBS, NPR, ABC, CBS, NBC. You're all dead. You're all done. You're all cooked. Nobody's listening. And the ones who do are dwindling in numbers, but most people are just saying, yeah, you know what? Bullcrap. 8 years ago is when I started a little podcast in my spare bedroom. 8 years ago. And look what we've been through. We've been censored, shut down. This week, YouTube finally said, oh, yeah, we'll let you guys back on. We took off during COVID because they're trying to save their butts. Google is trying to not be broken up for its abuses of us. It's all coming. Feces meet fan, fan meet feces. And I am glad it's happening because I have had enough of this bullcrap, to be quite honest. Benjamin Netanyahu speaking in front of the United Nations, a bunch of these morons in the New World Order that's collapsing, by the way, decided to get up and walk, throw a little temper tantrum, but Ben gave him a little what for?
Giving the Palestinians a state 1 mile from Jerusalem after October 7th is like giving Al-Qaeda a state 1 mile from New York City after September 11th.
Yeah, not getting your state. You had your shot at a two-state solution. What I think and hope and pray they do is banish all members of Al-Qaeda and anyone who does not want to live peacefully in Gaza will be exported. Just put it that way, exported. As I've said, evacuate the innocent, raze Gaza, R-A-Z-E. You had your shot at a two-state solution, and you blew it, so no more for you.
You know what message the leaders who recognize the Palestinian state this week sent to the Palestinians?
Yeah, I do.
It's a very clear message. Mm-hmm. Murdering Jews pays off.
Yeah.
Well, I have a message for these leaders.
What's that?
When the most savage terrorists on earth are effusively praising your decision, you didn't do something right. You did something wrong, horribly wrong. Your disgraceful decision will encourage terrorism against Jews and against innocent people everywhere.
Yeah, they brainwashed, I will say, maybe not an entire generation, but certainly a whole lot of the population. They made people forget October the 7th. I haven't forgotten it. I haven't forgotten it. And I never will. It was one of the most savage, most awful, evil things you could even imagine. It was Nazi Germany, putting babies alive in ovens and baking them to death. Raping a woman standing in line, last man in line, shoots her in the back of the head. You can't continue living on this earth, Hamas. You are done. You are done. A little bit more from Benjamin Netanyahu.
You remember those beepers, the pagers?
I remember the exploding beepers. That was fun.
We paged Hezbollah. And believe me, they got the message.
Oh, yeah, they did.
And thousands of terrorists.
Oh, they got applause.
Thousands of terrorists dropped to the ground.
Yeah,
remember those beepers?
Yeah, remember that?
The pagers?
Oh, hold on, I gotta stop this. Hold on.
We paged Hezbollah.
Yeah, they did. They paged Hezbollah and made them go boom. That was what they did. It was actually a brilliant tactical move by Israel. In fact, I think, if I'm not mistaken, let me find it here. Jim Gossett did a parody about it. Here it is. It's kind of fun. This is one of my favorites, actually. They had all their new pagers and they had explosives in them. Yeah, kaboom is what it went.
Pagers for sale or rent. Off my franks and beans they went.
Ouch.
When I felt it vibrate.
Don't put it in your front pocket.
By then it was way too late. Those pagers sealed our fate. Listen to them detonate. I'm a man with a deadly pager. Watch me explode.
There you go. That's Jim Gossett. You know, we can make fun of anything. It's kind of fun. That's what we do best here on the show. It's kind of cool. But that's Benjamin Netanyahu today in front of the United Nations. This after an absolutely butt-kicking speech by Donald Trump this week. Of course, the left went bananas because it was so effective, and he kicked butt. That's basically it. I have some good audio I want to share with you. Donald Trump this week, he did some really funny stuff. If I can find it here real quick. Trump, Christopher Rufo, Matt Trent. Oh no, I'm going to save that. I've got a lot of things I need to I want to get to before the end of the show. Here's Donald Trump yesterday talking about Jasmine Crockett, who is a dimwit. She's not an intelligent woman. It's obvious. If you don't believe me, listen to her talk. She's an idiot. She is an idiot. There's no doubt about it. I would debate her on any topic, anywhere, anytime. She is the mind of a toddler. But toddlers have intelligence. She doesn't have intelligence. You know, because a toddler can actually have intelligence, just don't have any knowledge yet because of life experience. She's a mental toddler, and she's also stunted intellectually. Here's Donald Trump talking about Jasmine Crockett and Ilhan Omar.
Jasmine Crockett. Remember what I said? Is she a relation to the late, great Davy Crockett?
No, she's not.
So.
No.
Jasmine Crockett, let me tell you, before you even ask, she's a very low IQ person.
Yeah.
I mean, if we ever had to pass an aptitude test, that's the one should take one because she shouldn't even be.
Anybody who will change their dialect for the audience and not recognize that you can see it's fake, that shows you are an idiot.
So I have no idea what you're going to, but I don't think we should waste our time. This is a low IQ.
Plus, there are her ideas. Her ideas are stupid, too.
IQ person who I can't even believe is a congressperson between her and Ilhan Omar.
Oh, yeah. Listen to this.
You know, I met the head of Somalia. Did you know that?
What? Yeah.
And I suggested that maybe he'd like to take her back, and he said, "I don't want her." Okay, what else? Go ahead. You want? Let's hear what Crockett said. Go ahead.
Yeah, I love that. You know, and that's kind of what we do here. We use mockery and ridicule, and we use comedy to make a point because the left can't fight back against it. They are like an armadillo on the highway on its back. They don't know what to do with it. They've always had command of the, all of the airwaves and everything, and they could just say anything blithely. And we've always been too polite to fight back. We've always been Mitt Romney or George W. Bush. Ain't that anymore. And honestly, I love the fact that he makes fun of these people. That he put a picture of auto pin instead of Joe Biden along the portico outside by the Rose Garden is absolutely brilliant because Joe Biden was the most corrupt president in American history, beyond a shadow of a doubt, getting $25 million plus from the Chinese Communist Party into bank accounts with his relatives. There is no doubt about it with fake LLCs. There is no doubt about it whatsoever. They found cocaine in the damned White House when America's most prolific and famous cocaine user was living there. They lied about the laptop. They lied about everything, and then they used the DOJ to go after Trump. That's the least of their problems is a picture of the auto pin instead of Joe Biden. It doesn't even deserve that. Oh, these are glorious days. Oh, these are glorious days. Hey, for those of you who don't remember how stupid Jasmine Crockett is, here's a little flashback.
Someone on this committee then starts talking about somebody's bleach blonde, bad built butch body, that would not be engaging in personalities, correct?
What now?
Jerry.
Chairman, because we in these hot ass Texas streets, honey.
Oh my God.
Y'all know we got Governor Hot Wheels down there. Come on now.
Just real quick, I want to warn you. We've done this before. You may lose an IQ point or two. If you are a Democrat, you might want to turn radio off or just pause things, whatever, because you don't have any to spare. You've got to have at least enough to make your autonomic breathing go. And if you're low on IQ points, you could stop breathing and die if you listen to Jasmine Crockett. So just be careful.
And the only thing hot about him is that he is a hot ass mess, honey. You're not.
1 + 1 = 2. I'm going to try it again. Here we go.
We done picking cotton.
Oh.
We are. You can't pay us enough to find a plantation.
4 + 4 = 9.
But when we start talking about things that look like evidence, they want to act like they...
It's evidence is what it is.
Fine. They don't know what this is. These are our national secrets. Looks like in the shitter to me. This
3 + 3 = giraffe.
looks like more evidence of our national secrets. Say on the stage at Mar-a-Lago.
Check you and tell you that, first of all, you shouldn't be doing this shit.
Shoe, hat, airplane. I can't take it. What happened? What happened just there? Brian, did I black out? Are we still on the air? Is this thing on? See what I told you? These things happen when Jasmine Crockett starts, and they deserve nothing more than a mockery and ridicule. There you go. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show. I didn't know she used the poopy word.
And a little Trump rejoin.
Oh, yay!
The media and our friends in the Democrat Party kept saying we needed new legislation. We must have legislation to secure the border. But it turned out that all we really needed was a new president.
Yeah, baby. That was one of the lines of the year. It's a Friday edition of the Rob Carson Show. We're going to talk to Tony Kinnett. We already talked to him. I'm thinking of Christian Toto, Hollywood and Toto. The new Spinal Tap movie is out. We've waited 40 years. I was in high school when the first one came out. I watched it the other night with my son. Well, it's been a couple months now. And it's a good movie. It's a very good movie, obviously. And it was groundbreaking for the time when it came out. It was 1984-ish, you know. It was a revolutionary movie. It was this mockumentary. The Monty Python? They did the Rutles about the Beatles, and then along came this movie, and this movie was mostly improvised. It wasn't as funny as I remembered it. I hoped my son would like it because how the culture has changed. Things are more flashy, things are more da-da-da, and all this. But he liked the movie. I've seen some reviews. I'm not going to say anything else. We'll talk to him about that. Here you go, Gen X. You ready to feel a little old here? Has anybody seen Tony Hawk do the commercials for joint supplements? Yeah, joint supplements. Tony Hawk's doing joint supplements. He's 57, by the way, and still doing a little skateboarding, And his first skateboard just sold for $1.15 million. There you go. I hope it's someone that appreciates it, or that even that the event or that object meant something to them. And look what he did. He revolutionized skateboarding. I remember when I was a little kid, skateboarding was just kind of coming around, and we had a skateboard. I didn't do much because didn't have any half pipes in Iowa. Anyway, but he did. He changed the sport and made it massively popular. If I were 18 or 20 years old, I would get a longboard for sure. But some other items, there were like 900 things for sale, $115,000 for a helmet that he wore, $64,000 for sneakers, $57,000 for his knee pads, by the way. So there you go. That's almost as much as Monica Lewinsky's went for. A little joke there. They didn't actually have it. By the way, she's a classy person, by the way. She is. She had her life taken away from her by a scumbag guy in the White House. Let's see what else. This is interesting. It wouldn't be amazing if the cure for cancer were right under our nose. You may recall that when COVID happened, doctors were told that you cannot prescribe anything to make it better. You can't do ivermectin. You can't do hydroxychloroquine. They called ivermectin horse paste. It was bullcrap because it worked. And they are drugs that are very effective in a lot of different ways. First Lady Casey DeSantis of Florida announced Florida is going to fund a study on generic drugs, including ivermectin, for potential cancer treatments. See, the big pharma didn't make a lot of money with these drugs. They're cheap, but it appears they're very effective. They're going to allocate $60 million in cancer research grants. Mel Gibson appeared with Joe Rogan about a couple of friends who took ivermectin, among other things, and cured their stage 4 cancer.
And I'll tell you a good story.
Okay.
I have 3 friends. All 3 of them had stage 4 cancer. All 3 of them don't have cancer right now at all.
What'd they take?
They had some serious stuff going
What'd
on.
they take?
What did they take?
Jesus. They took some, what you've heard they've taken.
Ivermectin.
Fenbendazole.
Fenbendazole, yeah.
That's
I'm hearing that a lot.
They drank hydrochloride something or other.
There's studies on that now where people have proven that
people drinking methylene blue and stuff like that.
I'm not out about the methylene blue, but the other two. My brother David has bladder cancer. I told him you could try it. Just try it. So, it is remarkable. Now they've got another drug. Leukotriene, was it the other day? They were talking about how it could reverse the symptoms of autism. It's a couple dollars a pill. It's not, the massive amounts of money that bankrupt people when they're fighting cancer. Obviously, cancer is big money for a lot of people. Cancer is big money. You have the cancer hospitals. They have cancer. They have cancer degrees, and all of this in school and whatnot. Wouldn't it be wonderful to put them out of business? Sorry, I know you're gonna have to, do code, but wouldn't it be great to get rid of cancer? I've lost so many friends to cancer, dear God. And it could be. Who the hell knows? Who the hell knows? Oh, the United States spent $110 billion on AIDS prevention. Less than half of the money went to medical supplies and health workers. Yeah, no kidding. Just 40% of the $110 billion the United States has invested in global HIV/AIDS prevention since 2003 actually went toward the on-the-ground deliveries of life-saving medical supplies. At least two recipients using more than $30 billion in taxpayer money to pay exorbitant executive salaries and push left-wing ideology. Yeah, America First global health strategy. Foreign assistance programs are deeply broken and often plagued by fraud, mismanagement, waste. An internal State Department review of the President's emergency plan for AIDS, PEPFAR, found 60% of America's investments is lost to overhead costs, steep executive salaries, and in some cases radical programming that has included Transgender Day of Remembrance and Decolonizing Development Series. Data shows 40% of PEPFAR's budget goes directly to finance on-the-ground delivery. It's all nonsense. RTI International and Kinnett that have used U.S. taxpayer funding to award their executives $1 million salaries and promote far-left politics. RTI International took in more than $13 billion from the U.S. taxpayer 2022-23, accounting for 84% of the company's revenue. More than 30% of the funds came from the U.S. Agency for International Development, USAID. This is why USAID is gone, and all USAID employees are out of work. Just remember, say, welcome to Chick-fil-A, may I take your order? It's a great day at Chick-fil-A because you are working for a corrupt agency that isn't around anymore. The now defunct foreign assistive body that faced long accusations of fighting radical ideologies around the globe, among other things. Some of the things that your money was used for to celebrate Transgender Day of Remembrance, moving from ally to advocate for transgender and non-binary employees. In another instance, RTI Press published a report warning of cisnormativity and trans antagonism. What a bunch of crap. What a bunch of giant crap. You say that the government's budget doesn't be cut. You're high. Welcome to it. Welcome to what it's like in flyover country the last, 40 years. Let's talk to Christian Toto next. How's that sound? It's the Rob Carson Show. Don't go anywhere.
So, as we get set for the afternoon session, there's a new spectator in the House, the President of the United States, Donald Trump, and his granddaughter, Kai, also with him, just arriving to the stands here.
That is Donald Trump of the Ryder Cup, and it's going to be, I think, it's going to get bigger. It's bigger and better than ever. I actually have, it's really popping, and he got, obviously, a better reception than Kathy Hochul did yesterday. Of course, the Happy Gilmore 2 came out this year. It's a good, well, that's not the good year for golf, but obviously golf is in the spotlight. Christian Toto, Hollywood and Toto, joins us on the NEWSMAX hotline. Christian, are you a golf fan?
I am not. I feel ashamed, but I'm not a golfer, not a golf fan. I don't hate the sport. Not like my feelings for soccer, but I just never got into it.
You know what? I gave up golf to focus on my marriage and my kids. I know that sounds kind of whatever, but honestly, between the career and the kids, I put it on the back burner. And I started in my 20s. I was actually my lessons were by a pro, and I had fitted clubs and the whole deal. And I was playing some pretty good golf, and I just got because it takes so much time. Golf takes so much time. Donald Trump has figured out because you do a lot of business when you play golf.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, it's kind of a
it's a great sport. I don't know. I mean, it's something that I feel like I can maybe get into at some point. I don't know. I'm in my 50s. Time is running out.
Yeah, you might want to get on that golf game there. So a lot of things going on. On Hollywood. I saw the trailer for this movie, One Battle After Another. It's got a 98 on Rotten Tomatoes. I talked to my son about it, and he's like, "Dad, it's supposed to be really good." Have you heard much about it? What do you know about this movie?
Yeah, parts of it are really good. This is director Paul Thomas Anderson, who gave us There Will Be Blood and Boogie Nights, a very talented director. And listen, whatever you want to think about Leonardo DiCaprio's politics, he waits for the very best directors and the very best projects and very selective in what he does. So this is a quality film. It's also incredibly dumb at times, and it's an absolute all-out attack on ICE. The term ICE is not mentioned, but the whole story involves these radicals, including the DiCaprio character, who are attacking FBI government officials who are holding illegal immigrants. I mean, it's almost shocking how imbalanced it is and how one-sided it is and how they depict every government official as either a racist or bigot or murderous or sometimes all three. And you get that in the persona of Sean Penn, who's quite good, but super one-dimensional.
Hey, I gotta play this for you. This is Adam Carolla last night on Jesse Waters talking about what he would do to the government agency ICE to really hit the Democrats in the face. Listen, it's very funny.
I came up with a way to save ICE, though. What? And this is an exclusive for your show, Jesse. Okay. You're going to love this. All right. They hate ICE. Newsom hates ICE. They're declaring war on ICE. AOC wants to abolish ICE. Immigration Customs Enforcement, right?
Just wait.
They hate ICE. Yep. It's a national organization.
Yes.
Start it with the word N.
The letter.
Start it with the word N.
Yes.
I love it.
Good luck trying to... Can you imagine?
National.
Can you imagine Gavin Newsom? These nice agents pulling up here in their nice vans.
Oh, is that a good idea or what?
Problem solved, man. Or takes the eighth, man.
I think it's national, for whatever the hell it is, but they call it nice. I don't know, whatever. I did see something this morning that troubled me, and it was someone who had seen Spinal Tap 2. Have you seen it?
Oh, I have not seen it yet.
Okay, good. Okay.
The game, they didn't screen it, but go ahead.
Well, it wasn't a good review. It sounded like there were a couple of the cast members and maybe even Rob Reiner phoning it in. And these are massive shoes to fill, especially if you wait 40 friggin' years for the sequel.
Yeah, it's a really hard assignment on many, many levels. The main characters, the actors, are in their late 70s, early 80s at this point.
I know.
The original is a classic. And, it's lightning in a bottle. I mean, honestly, and this makes it a little sad, is that rock and roll, the music scene, isn't what it used to be. It's very different. It's not the format that people love these days. It's not conquering the record charts. And so for all those reasons, it just seemed like a really terrible idea. The last time I checked it made about $2.6 million, which is a tiny,
Oh, my
tiny
God.
microscopic sum.
It is.
You know, they should have just went straight to streaming. I think that would have been a better bet.
I think you and I were grew up in the same era, and even boomers, album covers. You waited for the album cover, and an album was an album, And the glorious thing is, like my son, his favorite album of all time is Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon. It's still a masterpiece to Gen Z. But gone are the days of the release of an album and a massive tour to back up that album,
Yeah, it's a very different world now. And, I think you can lean into that and maybe kind of riff on how things have changed. But, I don't know, I was very curious because, listen, the original is from, I think, 1984, is beloved and deserves to be beloved. It's a wonderful film. And you think, well, why wouldn't there be some nostalgia? People would be curious to see what's going on. I mean, even if you feared the worst, you'd check it out. But I don't know. Sometimes people can sense things. The American public has a unique radar.
Yes.
And I think sometimes they can just sniff out a movie that just is not going to be what they want.
But think about that. How I guess it's Generation X was the first generation now to experience a sequel they can remember 40 years after the original came out. I mean, look, they did it with Top Gun, for God's sake. They did it with Top Gun.
Yeah, it can work. It is rolling the dice for sure. The Top Gun movie, I mean, first of all, it was very, very good, so there's that.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Sometimes a movie, there's an appetite for more chapters, more stories.
Mm-hmm.
I think Spinal Tap is beautiful, and it's just, it ends. There's a purpose behind it. There's no reason to revisit these characters. Whereas Top Gun, you have an older Tom Cruise playing Maverick, and what's he doing now? The times have changed. He could, go back to his old impulses, teach a young generation. The story made sense. It just made sense. So, listen, I haven't seen the new Spinal Tap movie. Maybe it's better than we think, but on paper, it just feels like, oh gosh, let's make a new one because we need to make a new one. I don't know.
Exactly.
It didn't seem like there was a there.
Yeah, I want to, on the other side of this break, I want to talk about your reaction to Jimmy Kimmel's comeback to television. Before we go, though, I did see a headline on Hollywood in Toto. Hollywood in Toto. Spaceballs 2 with Rick Moranis. Moranis left Hollywood to raise his kids. And getting back with Rick Moranis, Bill Pullman. By the way, Mel Brooks, it looks like Yoda now, so he doesn't need the makeup.
He's actually older than Yoda, but hey, God,
But there's talk about that coming around, huh?
Yeah, coming out in 2027. They just released a very faraway shot of the cast. Listen, there's a lot of nostalgia here as well, but we've got the same problem here. This is a movie that'll be 40 years old by the time the sequel comes out. Do we need it, and how involved is Mel Brooks, and can it capture that magic?
All right, let's take a break and come back with Christian Toto. This is the Rob Carson Show. Ah. It is a Rob Carson Show. Christian Toto from Hollywood and Toto on the NEWSMAX Hotline. So I just got news, Christian, that Sinclair is putting Jimmy Kimmel back on the air. So they've decided to put him back on the air. Obviously, he did the well, it wasn't an apology. What would you consider his appearance to be this week when he returned to the airwaves?
Morally bankrupt?
Yeah, pretty much.
He didn't apologize. He did a sort of kind of sounds like an apology, but didn't apologize for what he actually did. And he played the victim. And, it's funny. I've been a huge fan of Adam Carolla for years.
Yes.
I really respect him, and he's very funny. And I like the fact that those two have remained friends over the decades, in part because they are very politically different, and they don't let that get in the way. I think it's a wonderful thing. Having said that, Adam keeps saying, he's a good person, he's a good person. Listen, he may be a good person in certain ways. I'm not going to deny that. But a genuinely good person would not have done all of this. A genuinely good person would not have lied like he did for political posturing points. He wouldn't have done it. And then when he got caught out, and, basically he didn't just impact his show and his future, but I'm sure there are many, many people who work on that show, and if he had just apologized and done the right thing immediately, none of this would have happened. But he couldn't do that. He couldn't apologize. He had to double down in certain ways. It's really, it's depressing to watch. Also, he and Colbert have really ruined late-night TV to turn it into basically MSNBC.
Yes.
And, can he try to make us laugh? Can he try to be funny? Have they completely given up that particular mission? I mean, where are the jokes? I don't hear. I hear lectures. I hear finger wagging. There's crying. Maybe crack wise once in a while. And something legitimately funny, not the clapter.
Well, it's and I've always said this because I worked in music radio for a good share, most of my career actually, before successfully segueing into talk radio. I'm not sure if you were ever on with. I think you might have been on when I was doing music radio, Christian, at Mix 107.3 in D.C. I think I might have had you on. That's where I met you originally. But you do have to choose your lane. You do have to choose your lane. That's just the way it is. Now, I can do a political show that's humorous. Okay, that's what I do. I do a political show. We make a point with humor whenever we can. I do obviously have some serious thoughts about issues and whatnot. But that's how you set it up. You set it up. You say it's a political show and we use humor. You can't say we have the Tonight Show and we're going to make it political and exclude half of the audience. That has always been a failure. If I would have done that in morning radio at WRQX in D.C., they'd say, you're gone. Done. Talk about Hollywood dish. Do wacky, whatever nonsense that you do in music radio. But that's what they did. And anyone who has ever been in entertainment knows that will fail. I just am amazed that nobody had the balls to tell Kimmel and Colbert, knock it off.
Yeah, well, in a way, CBS did, but, by letting, not only canceling him, but canceling the show, of course, that's going to happen next year. It's just stunning. I just don't understand what they're doing. And, it's all about misinformation. I mean, watch that show, you get dumber. You actually lose IQ points, and you're not really up to speed on the latest issues. It's so far left, and it's so eager to misconstrue what's going on in reality. I mean, it's doing everyone a disservice. And that was one of the biggest things about the thing that got him in trouble in the first place. He blamed the killing of Charlie Kirk on MAGA, and that's the complete opposite.
Yeah.
And what a terrible thing to do, to use it as a cudgel. And that's what he did. Yeah. And he's genuinely not sorry. And that's why he didn't apologize, and that's why he got dragged through this.
Vinyl's making a comeback, right? There are some things that we decided, okay, we've moved away from it, but maybe it's cool to have it, whatever. You remember appointment television. We were raised on appointment television. I remember Wednesday night, The Muppet Show. I remember Thursday night, it was The Love Boat, Fantasy Island, right? I know that's old. But then it became Friends on Thursday nights, and all of this. The only appointment television we really watch is like news programming. You watch, Rob Schmidt. You watch, Chris Salcedo. You watch sports. Sports is particularly NFL football, Ryder Cup today. That's appointment television. Do you suppose that appointment television like late night will never be back?
Well, I would say never. I wouldn't
exactly.
put any money on it, that's for sure. I mean, this is part of this is that we can get whatever Kimmel or Leno or or Fallon or anyone says pretty soon on YouTube and other social media platforms. It kind of gets bounced around pretty quickly. Yeah, I mean, you would think that we all go to bed late at night, we all go to bed around that time, that there is a genuine opportunity if you put out something that's really compelling, that could come back, that format shouldn't have to die, but, look what's happening.
And it's kind of interesting, we do appointment listening here, and now we do appointment viewing. Right now we are on NewsMax, X, Rumble, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. And we have right now tens of thousands of people watching. So there are people making appointments and men making a part of their day, what we do here. So, it's interesting. It is interesting. A lot of the times you catch up things later because you're busy, but a lot of times also there's comfort in knowing that's going to be here from noon to 3. I'm making it into a plug for my show is what I'm doing here, Kristen.
Yeah, listen, if we want the content, if we're really hungry for it, we'll wait. We'll wait till the exact time it drops and get there.
And this is why we have you, Christian Toto. This is why we have you, Christian Toto, in the last half hour of the Rob Carson Show on Fridays. It is appointment listening, my friend. Now, before we go, where can people listen to your podcast? And obviously, HollywoodInToto.com is your website. Go ahead.
Yep. It's on YouTube. It's on Rumble. It's on iTunes. It's on Spotify, most audio platforms, you'll be able to find the Hollywood in Toto podcast. So it's pretty easy to find, and you also just go to HollywoodInToto.com. You can find links there as well.
Always a great conversation, my friend. Have a glorious weekend. We'll talk to you again next Friday. Let's take a break. You are listening to The Rob Carson Show. All righty. Hello. I think it's kind of interesting. We're talking about albums, and I know that it makes you, it's weird how you, when you get nostalgic, right? And sooner or later, if you live long enough, what you believe will make you sound old, right? Right? So when I talk about albums, and Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon and Rush 2112 and, whatever, it's gonna date me. I don't care, to be quite honest. I loved it. And I actually was watching last night online, and they have these record players with little speakers that are really amazing. So I'm thinking about maybe returning to the vinyl. I have some vinyl. What are we watching here? We got a lot of people watching on YouTube. I'm getting to know a whole bunch of people on YouTube. Mickey Hastings says, best looking Rob on Newsmax, bar none. Well, thank you, Mickey. You're so fine, you blow my mind. Hey, Mickey. Joaquin. Rob Carson, you already talked. I talked to you about that one. Joaquin, good to have you. Riley Halls as well. Let's look over on the Rumbly Roo, where you guys always Dookie Bear still there. Only my favorite album, DSOTM, Dark Side of the Moon, baby. Dark Side of the Moon. Now let me tell you, okay, and listen, if you don't know this, you should. Dark Side of the Moon does go along with The Wizard of Oz. It does. It matches it. It's intentional. You do it this weekend, okay? Start the Wizard of Oz. Start the Wizard of Oz, okay? On the third MGM Lion Roar, start Dark Side of the Moon. And when he goes like, the lunatic is on the grass, the scarecrow drops, and who knows who, and which is which, and who knows who, the wicked witch. Guys, it's friggin' crazy. Do it. Dark Side of the Moon, Wizard of Oz, third Lion Roar. There you go.
I have about 4 minutes.
Dougie. Audio slave, show me how to live. Wow. That was a great record. Audio Slave's first record, about 2000. Had a whole bunch of really good songs on it. Show Me How to Live is my favorite. So, your statute of limitations, like Jim Comey's, ends on September the 30th. Yours is to buy gold from Birch Gold and get $10,000 in free metals, possibly up to a rebate of $10,000 if you buy gold from Birch Gold. But again, it's on the 30th of September. It's already the 26th. You might want to get on that. It's a hedge against inflation, peace of mind during global instability, and also sensible diversification because the price of gold's gone up 35% this year. 35% this year. It's like ridiculously amazing. If you're a first-time gold buyer, Birch Gold is offering a rebate up to $10,000 in free metals on qualifying purchases. Birch Gold can help you roll an existing IRA or 401k into gold. You're still eligible for a rebate in free metals up to $10,000. Text my name, Rob, to 989898. Rob, to 989898. If you would, it would be great. I would appreciate that. Here's something kind of cool this week. There was a Matt Shaw plays for the Chicago Cubs, and he decided he took the day off to go to Charlie Kirk's memorial service. And the baseball play-by-play announcer, Gary Cohen, had a problem with it.
Shaw had Cubs World in a tizzy this weekend when he was not here for the Cubs game with the Reds. A game they lost 1-0, and in which his lack of presence was felt. It was later revealed that he had been given permission to attend Charlie Kirk's funeral.
Yeah,
and I don't want to talk about any of the politics of it, but the thought of leaving your team in the middle of a race for any reason other than a family emergency really strikes me as weird.
It's unusual. I think it's unprecedented, at least from...
Yeah, sometimes humanity usurps the sport. Here's what Matt did last night.
On Cade Horton, but those two guys coming back. This ball smoked left center field, and that one is carrying out of here.
Come on, there you go.
Matt Shaw blast off 13th time.
Yeah, there we go.
Hits keep coming for the Cubs. It's 6-0.
There you go. I got a soft spot for the Cubbies. Yeah, I got to tell you, I went to see the only Cubs game I went to see was when the Cubs were taking on St. Louis. It was 1998. I go there. I pay $180 for 2 scalped seats. We're third baseline. We're sitting there. No action. Nothing's happening. And I'm like, no national anthem, no nothing. And this is before, like cell phone technology really was, as prolific as it is now. So I went up and I talked to the, hot dog vendor. I said, what's going on? Where's the game? Well, it turns out the guy named Darryl Kyle was a pitcher for the Cardinals, and he died in his hotel room. And so we lost the tickets and everything. I don't know why I'm sharing that. But anyway, it's kind of interesting. That was the last one of the last times I went to Chicago. I need to get back. No, not until they get a new mayor. Not going back to Chicago. Not going to happen. By the way, my TV show, Rob Carson's What in the World, is on Sunday night on NEWSMAX. It's the only comedy show on NEWSMAX. And guys, things are about ready to blow up. The show's going to get bigger, better, more spectacular. We're going to be doing a new set here, new set design, and, it's going to get big. That's all. I'm just going to tell you that it's going to get really big. So Sunday night, NEWSMAX, Rob Carson's What in the World, 8:30 Eastern, okay? Have a glorious weekend. God bless you. From the bottom of my heart, God bless you. America has founded Donald Trump as he saves this country, Charlie Kirk and his family. And until Monday, don't catch the stupid. I'll see you then, guys.
All right, Robbie, have a good week.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is NEWSMAX. It's real news for real people.